Hey everyone, I'm OZChris, and welcome to OZChris versus Zenescope Entertainment, where I review various Zenescope Entertainment titles. Mainly, this is just a catch-up. My LCS unfortunately doesn't sell any Zenescope stuff, so I have to buy them online interstate. So, like I said, mainly catch-up. So we have Dragonsblood number 2, Gretel number 2 and number 3, and Oz Heart of Magic number 2. So starting off with Dragonsblood. So written by Nick Bermel, artwork by Jason Moore, colors by Max Flan Rajo, cover A, which is this cover, by Igor Vitorino and Ivan Nunes. And I also got the cover C, which was by Gibo Vigante, Jesus, these names, and Ivan Nunes. This one is pretty cool looking cover. I got that one as well. So Sigurd is safe after slaying the dragon. He did not die. He survived. He was saved by Regan and by this mysterious woman named Freya. And despite the fact he's been saved, all is done. He slayed the dragon that is his whole entire family for generations have been trying to hunt down and slay for ages. He's finally succeeded, but it's not quite over yet. He's now suffering from all these visions or these dreams where a voice is telling him that death follows you. One in particular, he actually turns into a dragon and kills his family. So maybe the family's curse of having, not curse, their legacy of fighting that dragon, maybe it's not quite over yet, but in the meantime, he gets acquainted with Freya, this mysterious woman who seems to have abilities of her own. Particularly, she has tattoos on her body, and kind of like a mix of Vixen, DC's Vixen, and Tattoo Man. She gains the abilities of the animal tattoos that she has. So she has one of a tiger. Then when she activates her abilities, tiger stripes appear across her body, and I assume, naturally she has strengths and powers of a tiger. So there's more than meets the eye to her, but the two head off with an army or just a group of soldiers to fight off against some raiders. And Sigurd himself is given a sword that was found within the dragon's heart. Very powerful sword that seems to be able to cut through anything except for one thing, which is at the end of this issue. So, story, 4 out of 5. This is really good, really interesting. I'm waiting to see. I really want to see what this whole vision dream thing is going on with Sigurd. More about Freya. Definitely, there's more than meets the eye with her. I wonder if there's any connection to the whole Freya of Norse mythology, considering that, they mention like Helheim and all of that. So I wonder if it's the same Freya or just a coincidence. The art, 4 out of 5 for that. The art and coloring was really, really, really good. Especially, even just this simple scene, this simple page of just Sigurd just waking up from a nightmare. The art and coloring on that was really, really good. Not something a lot of people would want to put like a lot of attention and detail into. This one, really good. Like the art and the coloring in this, and the cover A, 4 out of 5. Good art, good coloring, good looking cover. So on to Gretel. You'll notice I don't have a physical copy of issue number 2. Unfortunately, the store I get them from sold out. So I bought a digital copy. So here's my review of issue number 2 that I recorded some time ago. Gretel, issue number 2. Story by Joe Bruscia, Ralph Tedesco, Dave Franchini, and Ben Mears. Written by Ben Mears. The art by Alan Otero. Colors by CC De La Cruz. And the main cover A, by Kanan White and Ivan Nunes. So, continuing off from the previous issue, Gretel saves Samuel and is beginning to treat his injuries. And while this is going on, we're getting a flashback to her first hunt that Samuel takes her on, her first witch hunt. And it's against a necromancer witch called Vita Mortem, and Samuel underestimated Gretel's abilities. She clearly wasn't ready, and she is injured, uh, almost fatally injured during the attack. And this kind of flashback is to serve as a parallel to what's going on in the present day. In the flashback, Samuel is the one that saves Gretel. Present day, it's the other way around. So when her first her first hunt together with Samuel, she needed to be saved, and what seems to be implied to be their last hunt, or their first hunt since they've last seen each other, she is the one that's saving him this time. So the flashback works really well as a getting to know more about Gretel's past, and as a great parallel to what is going on in the present day parts of this book. So we learn a little bit more about Gretel. She doesn't like the fact, in the past, she doesn't like the fact that she has been turned into a monster. She considers herself a monster for what the witch has done to her, but Samuel believes, yes, you're a monster, but you could be the monster that monsters fear. You could be a miracle if you use your powers the right way, the kind of the good way. So in the flashbacks, learn a bit more about Gretel. Back to present day, Gretel learns the name of the witch that cursed her, the one that killed her brother, Tituba. And Tituba is hunting down Gretel and Samuel as well. Well, she wants Gretel to find her, and using another witch called Day, has her send demons to try and capture the two, but they fail. They are helped by this unknown sniper that's been watching the events unfold, who is also after Samuel and Gretel. So since it seems to be everyone's against them for their own reason, looks like they had an ally, but this ally has their own agenda, which involves them, and that was pretty much the issue. So story, 4 out of 5. I definitely like this whole parallel contrast of the flashback and the present day. You know, as I said before, first ever hunt, Gretel needed to be saved, and she gets the motivation to that she's not just a monster. There's nothing wrong with her powers. She can use her powers for good. And then back with present day, meeting Samuel again for the first time in a long while, and she ends up having to save him. How they're saved and how they healed is the same way in both the flashback and the present day stuff. The witch that she encountered on her first hunt, Vita Mortem, is mentioned in present day, so that's another good connection with the flashback. And the flashback in general was just an easy way to get to know more about Gretel, about kind of her personality before, present day stuff. So Ben Mears in the team, Ben Mears the writer, and the story did a really good job with planning it like that. I'll definitely 4 out of 5 for the story for that. I really enjoyed it. We know who the main villain will be, of course, Tituba, the witch that made Gretel who she is. Well, at the start, but Tituba will be the main villain. This unknown assailant is joining the fray as well. She seems to have her own intentions that might not align with Gretel and Samuel's intentions, or the other witches with Tituba as well. The art and coloring by Otero and LaCruz, 4 out of 5. I really like the art. I really like the coloring. I particularly liked the art and the coloring in the flashbacks, despite the fact it's just black, white, and gray. It's just these somewhat simple, dull colors, but they were done really well. I honestly liked the art and the coloring in the flashbacks more than I did in the present day stuff. The present day stuff isn't bad either. That's actually really good as well. But I don't know how it's drawn and how it's colored, or pretty much the lack of color because it's black, white, and gray. It was just done extraordinarily well. So, you know, you don't always have to have these bright, vibrant, like all over the place colors and stuff and art to make it look good. Sometimes just the lack of, or just the simplest coloring can make art look extremely well, which they did exceptionally in this. So I really enjoyed that. I'm going to change it. Not 4 out of 5, 4.5 out of 5. Almost close to a 5. It was really, really good. And the cover A by Kanan White and Ivan Nunes, 4 out of 5 as well. The art and coloring of that was really, really good. It's not a... It's particularly just a kind of simple-ish cover. Well, not really simple-ish. There's not a lot going on the cover. It's just Gretel with her hands up using magic. There's symbols and stuff behind her. But the art and coloring on that is really, really good. Hence the rating of 4 out of 5. So that was it for issue number 2. And on to issue number 3. Story by Joe Bruscia, Ralph Tedesco, Dave Franchini, and Ben Mears. Written by Ben Mears. The artwork by Alan Otero. Colors by CC Dela Cruz. The cover A, which is the one I got, by Sean Chen and Ivan Nunes. So, similar to the previous issue, this story is in at least primarily 2 parts. So you have Gretel going to look for Vita Mortem, who was the kind of the first witch she tried to hunt down unsuccessfully, and then relating to that as a story is when Gretel and a few other witches were kidnapped by Nazis for experiments. So the overall theme is redemption. So during her capture by the Nazis, the witches there all proclaimed that they're good. They've seen the errors of their ways. They don't hunt children anymore, or stuff like that. But Gretel only has the mindset that all witches are evil and they're not capable of redemption and all of that. So she kills all in the train and just leaves, even leaving people that would go to the concentration camps. Her only focus was witch hunting, and that's something she regrets. She even says she's been pondering for decades. Did she truly deserve to escape that train that day, given that the witches seemed like they were actually, redeemed. They're actually trying to atone for their actions. And B, all she cared about was the witches. She left all the civilians there to be killed in camps and all that. So her job consuming her life, slightly blurring right and wrong and all that. So that's the flashback parts, which tie into the present day stuff with her meeting Vita Mortem again, who seems to have been redeemed herself sometime afterwards. She became a nun. She's unable to use her necromancy powers because it requires both hands, and they're going through this discussion about whether she's redeemed as well. What plans are going on with the rest of the witches. To no one's surprise at all, it turned out to be a lie. So it turned out to be a lie, and Gretel is aided by this mysterious woman, this sniper or assassin that's after them. And I'll leave it there. So story, 4 out of 5. I think it was really good. I like the whole comparison between the flashback moments and the present day stuff. They work hand in hand with each other. They work really well. The art I'll give 4 out of 5. There is at least like this one page where it just seems like it was just copy pasted, but slightly like Gretel here, it's just same pose here, same pose there, and just slightly changed there. I think this is really the only moment that happens, but overall the art and the coloring was really good. Compared to the previous issue, I like the art and coloring more on the present day stuff. Flashback stuff wasn't that bad; it was actually pretty good as well. But I think the present day present day moments with the art and coloring was really good. The cover, 4 out of 5. Love the art, love the coloring, good looking cover. And on to the final one, Oz Heart of Magic. Story by Dave Franchini and Terry Kavanagh, written by Terry Kavanagh, the art by Marcelo Muller, colors by Leonardo, butcher name time, Pacchiarotti, and cover A by Sean Chen and Hedwin Zaldivar. So this is cover A, the one I got. So Dorothy and her group have gained more allies with the Gnome King and his people as they head off on their journey to find find the powers that can help them defeat the wizard. While this is going on, the Bartleby, the Scarecrow, has finally got his wish of, like, he's now got a happy life. You know, if I knew more about Oz, I'd have a deeper understanding, but I'm just going from what I've read so far and read with this. So he's got the love of his life back, but there's more to her than meets the eye. Dorothy and her group traveling through the southern outlands to reach the impossible pass and the various just dangers that are going on, and the wizard saving people while in Dorothy's body, and we get the reveal that the Bartleby's love is actually someone who the wizard is romantically involved with, someone called Answer Forth. I'm going to assume that's another character that's been in a previous series, possibly. I think it was probably would have been a smarter idea if I read the previous stuff before starting this, but overall, you know, disregarding that, story 3.5. This was good. This was a good story. I will admit, as I've said, I was slightly a bit lost on parts, but overall, I didn't feel overly lost with the story in this issue. Just mainly with a lot of the characters. But that's my fault, not particularly the fault of the writer. But it was a good story regardless. The art and the coloring, 4 out of 5 for that. Definitely good art and coloring. This is probably my favorite page here with the art and the coloring. The cover itself, 4 out of 5 for that. Amazing art, amazing coloring on the cover, a great cover. So that is it for those 3. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you all next time.